Hi, I'm Simdale and welcome to this Orphanage speed build. I actually recorded the voiceover for this once before when I thought I'd be using this build as part of a Let's Play where I was going to have 7 orphans and one woman that owns and runs the orphanage, and she would try and get them adopted. But I recorded the first episode of that Let's Play and the file for it got corrupted and I didn't really want to replay it and re-edit it and everything, so I just figured I didn't really want this speed build to go to waste, since it did take me forever to do. So I just thought I'd re-record the voiceover because the original voiceover was introducing characters and the plot and stuff, which we don't really need. I haven't entirely abandoned the Let's Play idea though, I might come back to it, but building is what I really enjoy on The Sims. I do like live mode, but I always get the most excited about building, and I'll be playing in live mode and then think, you know what, I actually want to go and build something else now. So yeah, I don't know, I'd rather do speed builds than Let's Plays at the moment anyway. And what I love most on YouTube as well is watching other people's speed builds, so I thought I spend so much time building in The Sims anyway, why not try and put my builds on YouTube as well? And so yeah, this is the first build I've done with the intention of it going online, and it's funny how different I play to normal. I thought it would just be build like normal, speed it up 6 times, do a voiceover, throw it on YouTube, but I guess just because I was aware that it would be going online, I played it I was so conscious of what I was doing, how much time I was spending on each things, and if I was spending too long choosing the colour swatch or whatever, and yeah, it was weird. And sometimes I couldn't decide what item to use, where normally I would just be yeah, it looks fine, whatever, and throw it down. And there was a lot of editing that goes into it as well. I cut out a lot of the times when I was deciding between swatches, and it still ended up being a really long video, and it just made me realise how much effort goes into these videos. It made me really respect, even more than I did before, the YouTubers that I watched doing speed builds. So yeah, about the house, it is actually based on a real life orphanage. I just googled orphanage and a bunch of buildings came up. A lot of them were schoolhouses, but I've already done an orphanage schoolhouse. I actually make quite a lot of orphanages on The Sims. I think they're a fun way to get loads of different kids in to, to have adventures together, which is quite sweet. So I didn't want to do another school build, so I just did this whatever type of house. And it's actually enormous, it's crazy. I didn't really realise why I was building it, but there's so much space inside. I basically just took inspiration from the front facade of this picture that I found and improvised the rest. I quite like the way it looks, although I think the bay windows down the side might be a bit much. Especially on that corner, they look a bit weird, but I feel you get better at building through trial and error, learning from your mistakes and stuff, so I don't really mind that it's not perfect, because I did this build maybe 3 months ago now, and I think even since then I have got better at building, so maybe my future builds will be a lot better than this one. I hope so at any rate. So yeah, as I was saying, this build is huge, and I hadn't really noticed it at this point in the build. So I always make my houses from the outside in, I do all the detailing on the outside of the house, and most of the landscaping before I move inside to the layout and the furnishing. And I don't think that's a particularly unusual way to play, but it does mean that sometimes I get really weird layouts, because the house is an odd shape, or I've already placed the windows and I want to put a room that would then intersect one of the windows and stuff like that. So some of the rooms inside this house are a bit of an odd shape, and some are way smaller than you'd expect them to be. Especially because of that extension on the ground floor, I wanted that to be the bedroom of the orphanage owner. I don't know why, there was so much more space upstairs, but I wanted that to be her room. So it needed access inside, which meant that I had to put a corridor which split what could have been 1 or 2 big rooms into 3 tiny rooms, which yeah, I'm just starting to do here. It took me a bit of time to figure out the layout because of that. I had to put this corridor in that I'm trying to make at the moment. And so yeah, you get one room, that room on the left that's going to be the playroom, and then that one on the right overlooking the terrace, which I've made into like a little study room. But yeah, that could definitely have been done in like one or two bigger rooms, which probably would have looked better. But I was set in my ways for some reason. I was originally thinking of doing the bedrooms for the orphans as like 2 dormitories, but like you can see upstairs now, it's so big that if I had done that, there would have been so much leftover space that I don't know what I would have done with. So instead I've done, I think there are 5 bedrooms upstairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 bedrooms. There are 2 shared rooms, these 2 big ones at the front that I'm making at the moment. So one of them is shared by 2 siblings, and the other one there's just 2 teenage boys. You can see there I actually already made all the Sims. So I was making the rooms for them like personalised. So I guess once I get to furnishing the bedrooms, I'll explain their personalities a bit, even though like I might never play with them. It makes more sense for the bedrooms, and I do prefer making personalised rooms like that rather than doing generic ones. Like I love using clutter and stuff to make it really look like somebody lives there rather than a show home. And then here, yeah, starting on the downstairs furnishing, I've put those lights, they're currently not attached to anything because I forgot that I've got that hole that just goes from the first floor into the ground floor. So I'll realise that way at the end of the build and get rid of them. But yeah, this hall started off looking so boring. I don't think I changed the colour scheme for a while, but it's just not good at the moment. But I changed it to be way more fun. I think I used some of the wallpapers that come in cats and dogs, like those stripy ones. I really like those, I use them quite a lot. I was also thinking of making the build like really drab, using those wall decals that I think came with vampires. Maybe it was Sitting Living. I think it was vampires with all like the exposed brickwork and exposed boards. Actually, there's no exposed brickwork, is there? Just the exposed boards. And like the exposed concrete, I suppose, and all the cracks and the damp marks and all the mould. I don't know why, but I really enjoy doing drab builds with all that stuff, especially making apartments and things that are just all mouldy and disgusting. Look like they would be just awful to live in. I don't know why. I guess they've got a lot of character to them, I suppose. But then I thought that would be a bit of a horrible way for orphans to live, especially since this house is so big. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be nice, but I feel like, especially from the outside aesthetic that I went with, it kind of makes sense for the inside to be nicer as well. So this room that I'm working on at the moment is like the office room where the owner of the orphanage would do all her business. I guess that's like a little consultation area where she would talk to prospective parents and have all the folders about the orphans. I used this fireplace I'd never used before. I actually used quite a lot of items in this that I'd never used before. But yeah, that fireplace, it just looks so modern that I don't really like it. I guess it's quite minimalistic as well, but it actually looks so officey, like something you would find in a room like this. So yeah, I've like a modern room as well. So I figured I'd use that. And then this back wall I just made entirely bookcases. So I think those are probably like files on the orphans and like past orphans that have been here, but probably also things like childcare books and I guess guides to running an orphanage. I don't know, but you know, books that would help the owner. And then this is just her desk where she would do most of her work. I think if I was playing this, I'd probably lock this room so that only she could get in, because otherwise, like, even though the orphans have got their own room with computers in, like, Sims can be so annoying. They'll just go and use this computer anyway. That's something actually that I want with the Sims, like, because you can have your Sims claim their beds, so then they'll only use that bed even if other Sims have access to that room. And I wish you could do that with other items, like set ownership of things. So then you could be like, this is whoever's computer, and only that Sim would use that computer unless you told them otherwise. I think that would be a good addition. And then these 2 rooms, I was going to make it one big toilet, but then figured like with 8 Sims, I want more bathrooms, more toilets, so put in 2 instead. And like they do fit, so that is fine. Oh yeah, I've put in the other colour scheme now. I think, is that the Parenthood tiles? Yeah, I think Parenthood as well had some really good colours and items and things. I know I've used a lot of Parenthood in the kitchen as well. And then, am I moving on to doing the playroom now? I think I start doing the playroom and then do something else. Yeah, I think I'm doing the kitchen instead. So the kitchen is a huge room, and it could easily have been the kitchen and dining room, but instead I've made this room I'm putting the lights in now the dining room. So, oh, that door was just clipped out of existence. I think I fixed that though. Yeah, so the kitchen is just really big, but I think I've made it look quite nice. Maybe I'm doing the dining room instead. It's ages since I've done this build, I don't really remember. Yeah, I'm doing the dining room. Okay, I'm not proud of the dining room. This is the worst room in the whole build, and I knew it while I was doing it. It was just so ugly. It's so dark. The colour scheme is just brown. I've tried to lighten it, but I really didn't succeed. I think what I should have done is just scrapped it entirely and started again. I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, just using that same fireplace. Yeah, see, I was trying to lighten it with like little decoration objects, but they're all like white, so it doesn't really change the colour scheme much. Oh, and that painting that I'm putting in, I just found it while I was doing the dining room. But it's of quite like an official looking woman, so I figured she could be like the founder of the orphanage, and so it makes sense for her picture to be in the office. I tend to put in lots of plants to try and lighten rooms, or like take away from the predominant colour. But like, see that little dog plant I put down, it's still got brown in it, so it really hasn't worked. And I thought putting a side table here, because there's just nothing in this corner, I could put some more objects on that would bring some more colour, and it just didn't work. I think probably if I'd changed the walls as well to be maybe like the same stripy colour, like with that red in as the hallway, like even that would have looked better. Maybe change the floorboards as well, because they're so dark. Yeah, I just thought I'd put in some items that would likely be in a dining room, like, you know, fruit bowl, cutlery, condiments and stuff. And I think I put in some more pictures. Did I actually leave them blue? I hope I did, because I know there's a brown colour swatch on that, and it'd be terrible if I used that. But yeah, I don't like this room. Oh, and that I thought could be like, maybe the orphanage owner sometimes like set homework or something, and then the orphans would like put their work into that folder outside her door. I started doing the playroom, and then I went back, and now I'm doing the kitchen, which is very blue, but the blue is significantly better than the dining room. Oh, I love those floorboards. I just love the colour in them. They actually look quite a lot like the floorboards that we had in our original kitchen, like years and years ago. So I guess I probably like them so much because of that, but I do like all the different shades and tones in them as well. And then these counters from Parenthood are like my favourite thing. I use them in every build. I basically always use them in blue as well. Like, I know they've got other colour swatches, but I love the blue. And they're also like some of the only counters that have got a textured surface, like the top, I mean, because we have so many that are just plain, which is so boring, because I saw most counters that'll have like a granite top or a wooden top or like some other kind of stone top, and most of them are just like plain white or plain black or plain whatever with no texture to it, which just doesn't really look that nice. So yeah, I use these a lot, and I wasn't sure if I should like make the whole room surrounded by counters, because like that can be a bit overpowering, but I did in the end, and it actually looks alright. And then I did want the counters to like take up the whole space, but then also use those end counters because I like the way they finish at the end. But then because those end counters don't take up a whole space, which I wish they did really, I had to do some move objects to fit everything in so that it is flush, like, to the walls. I think there's probably some clipping on that left end, but it's not really too bad. Or have I just put in a non-end counter? I don't know anymore. That light's in the way, so I can't really tell. But yeah, I thought I'd put around a lot of clutter items, because with like 7 kids, your kitchen's probably not going to be that neat. And it's not really like it's messy per se, it's just like got a lot in it. And then just making another little counter section over here. What's weird, with those end counters taking up like half a square or whatever, you'd think that the cabinets would as well, like the end cabinets, but instead they take up a whole one. So then, like, you can't fit the cabinets exactly over the counters if you're using the end pieces like that, which I find so annoying. But I think I've moved objects so that it's all flush over there. And then making this huge island counter. It took me a while to get all the counters into the right place so that the sides are flush, and then just filling it in with counters. I think the surface probably glitches a bit, but like, it looks fine. I've covered it in items so you can't really see where it's clipping, and I think it just, like, it filled the space so much. If I hadn't put anything there, it would have been so empty, even though it's surrounded by counters. So yeah, just putting little clutter items everywhere. I figured the orphans might be like rushing in and out of the kitchen before school, like getting breakfast, and then they would just throw their books down on the counter or whatever, because it's the first thing that you come into. So I put quite a few books around, and then also like cookbooks and stuff. And I've actually got rid of those books. Well, I guess I decided not to do that. But yeah, lots of cookbooks. And oh, that new rug from Cats and Dogs, I love that. And I feel like it really ties the blue and the brown together in a nice way. And then, oh yeah, that, like, oh, what's that board called? Like, the board that gives them curfew and stuff. I don't really use it in my gameplay that often because it's a bit annoying. But yeah, I figured it would make sense in an orphanage build. And then starting on the playroom, which is quite small, especially considering some of the kids' items are quite large. But this was, because I made this quite a while ago now, this was one of the first builds I did when you could use square bracket to size down as well as size up, which was so exciting. Like, I don't know, I think I probably scaled down, yeah, see, I'm scaling down that clock. There are so many things in this game that are just so ridiculously oversized, and it was so exciting that I could finally scale them down. So I've done that quite a bit. Oh, and I've used those cute little animals. So, oh yeah, the rugs. Why are so many of the rugs in The Sims enormous? It's ridiculous. So I'm so glad that we can scale them down now. I think I scale down some of those enormous toys as well. I generally only scale down items that aren't like Sims can't interact with, because otherwise the animation's weird. Or if I am scaling down an item like that they can interact with, I'll put it somewhere where they can't interact with it, because otherwise the animation looks really weird. But I've discovered with the dolls' houses, you can scale them down and they still look fine, because the animation actually doesn't affect the doll's house at all. Like, all the kids and toddlers do is stand or kneel in front of it and like wave some dolls around, so it doesn't matter what size the doll's house is, which is so good, because again, the dolls' houses are huge, and like, that's not to say that dolls' houses in real life aren't huge, but like, most of the dolls' houses are enormous in The Sims, when in real life you would have bigger ones, you'd have smaller ones, you would have like the Lego ones and the Polly Pocket houses that would be way smaller than like the massive ones that they have in this game. I was trying to fit in as many kids' items as I could in here so that they could actually go in and play, but it's not really that big of a room, so it has ended up a bit cramped, but I don't really mind that. Oh, and then doing the terrace area. I wonder if I change the lighting here, because it's really dark. I don't think I do, actually. But yeah, did those benches come with City Living? I can't remember, but I hadn't used them before. And the colours on them are so fun. I guess they're like so fun that I wouldn't use them in many other types of builds, because they're just so out there. But for an orphanage, it made sense. Like, they're very, I want to say kid friendly, but that sounds like they could be dangerous, which it's not really true, but you know, they're fun. and then putting a lot of plants outside. You know, just before I did this build, I was watching someone else's speed build, and they were putting loads of pot plants outside, and I was like, whoa, why did I never think of that? It was so stupid. But before, I would only put down the outdoor plants outside, even though like we have potted plants outside, so why not put them outside? It was quite a revelation for me. It sounds so dumb, but yeah. Oh, and then using these stupid little tree stumps that came with toddler stuff, I thought they were just so stupid and annoying. Like, they're just decorations, you can't interact with them at all, and I don't know, they don't really make sense. So I figured, since I was using so many new items, I would try and use them as well, and they actually do look quite cute, so I was pleased with that. Also, just I was putting in the potties because I forgot that there's a toddler in this family, and toddlers, I'm so glad that toddlers came back into The Sims 4, but they can be so annoying, especially, I don't know if it's the same with everyone, but my toddlers often have this glitch where they'll just stop eating, and then they'll complain that they're hungry, but they've like put their food on the floor, and it's like, well, you've got food right there, can't you just finish eating it? And you'll keep clicking for them to eat, and they'll take one bite and then put it back down, and it's so annoying. And often as well, they'll get stuck between like hunger and tiredness, so that often, for me, their energy never fills. Like, they can be asleep forever and their energy will just never get back all the way up, and then I'll be trying to make them sleep so that they're entirely energized, but then they'll be hungry, and then they'll get up and then they won't eat. They'll just keep putting their food down, and then they'll get tired again. It's just so annoying. So I never use too many toddlers in my games, or like if I do have toddlers, I tend to age them up quite quickly. So I don't usually play with like normal aging enabled. I like to decide when my Sims are going to age up myself, which, I don't know, I guess that's good for me, but I suppose if I was doing a Let's Play, I'd probably change that because it gives more of a challenge. If I'm doing a challenge kind of thing, I suppose. And then this is the study, putting in that chemistry table that I generally forget to put in for kids, but I wanted there to be loads of kids' items because otherwise I don't really have anything to do. Yeah, just putting in those bookshelves. I really like the way those bookshelves go together, actually, and there's like the smaller one of them as well, which also looks really good with them. And then that corner was quite dark, so I was trying to put some lights in. Oh, those are cute, I forgot about those. I hardly ever use fairy lights in The Sims, but yeah, those are sweet. And I think I put a couple of desks here with computers. I've only put 2 computers in here, and there aren't any in any of their bedrooms either because I wanted them to use all their toys and stuff for fun primarily. That's kind of also why there's only 3 seats in front of the TV, but that is also because that room is just so small that I could not fit 8 seats around there. I should really pay more attention to the layouts while I'm building so that stuff like that doesn't happen, but I just get so carried away trying to make the outside look nice. I think that's actually partly because I used to suck so much at building. Like, I'd make a box the diagonal bit and there'd be one tree outside and I think, yeah, that looks so nice, when actually it was terrible. So I started to pay attention a lot to how the outside of my builds look to improve, and I think I got really stuck on that. Like, I started to enjoy doing the exterior so much, and yeah, to like try and improve. So I actually recently rebuilt one of the original houses that I made in The Sims 4. And at the time when I built it, I was so proud of it. It was this hotel and I was like, yeah, that looks amazing. And I went back to it recently and it's just so awful. So I thought I'd rebuild it. And it's really funny seeing the 2 builds side by side, like how drastic the difference is. It's so funny. And it's not even that I think I'm a particularly good builder now, it's just that I was so awful before. But yeah, everyone starts somewhere, and as I said before, we learn from our mistakes. I don't know, I enjoy rebuilding my original houses as well. It's just so funny seeing them. So yeah, this is the tiny room that like exacerbated the issues with this half of the house, with how small all the rooms are. It's the orphanage owner's house room, and it's got a little ensuite bathroom. Actually, all the bedrooms got ensuite bathrooms, which is probably not at all realistic to orphanages, though I don't know for sure. I doubt it is though. But yeah, I guess they live in luxury. But her room hers is the smallest bedroom. Like, I definitely should have just put it upstairs where there's more space, but I was just stuck on the idea of it being downstairs, like away from the kids a bit. Don't know why, but there we are. I'm just putting a few more items outside. I wanted there to be loads of activity items that'd have a lot to do, lots of skill building things as well, because especially with 8 Sims, and especially with none of them being related, you'd sort of expect them all to have very different hobbies and things they enjoy. So I've tried to put like quite a variety of stuff like that around. And then I think here I put out some basketballs, but I've also done this thing quite often where I get those like chew balls from Cats and Dogs with the football colour swatch, then scale it up. So I think if the Sims can access them, they like put them back in the pet box if you have one. But if you put them out of the way, the Sims will just ignore them, and then they look like actual footballs. And there's a tennis ball one as well that I've put around. And then I think we're starting with the bedrooms upstairs now. So yeah, the 2 front ones are really big, which is why they're the 2 shared ones. And then the rest all have their own bedrooms. And one of the shared bedrooms, the ensuite bathroom, is huge. I could probably have made that room into something else, but like at that point I didn't know what other room it would be. Like, I thought about putting a playroom upstairs as well, but then they didn't really need to, so yeah, I just made a really big bathroom instead. So which room do we start with? We're just doing the 2 ensuite bathrooms first, I guess. So that longer one is the bathroom of the toddler, and generally I can do like 2x2 bathrooms because they can fit everything in really easily with just like a minimal amount of move objects. But for the toddlers, because you need to have a bath and there's no bath downstairs, there had to be one in her ensuite bathroom so that she can actually be washed, which meant that her bathroom had to be bigger. Oh, and I've just scaled down that table so that it fits on a better height against the toddler bed. But then when you do that, the items try and snap to where the table would be normally. So you have to then like move objects into the ground, and then they don't really fit nicely. So you see you've like lost the base of the lamp there, but it looks fine. I always try and do like fun carpets and wallpapers in toddlers' rooms, but then like, I don't know, we don't really have that many nice carpets in The Sims 4, so I've just tried to put down a lot of rugs to make it a bit more fun instead. And putting in a mirror. What else do I do in this room? I think I try and put in a lot of wall decorations and stuff so that it's all quite fun. I can't actually remember what trait I gave this toddler. I think it was probably independent though, because I don't know, I guess I tend to ignore my toddlers a bit just because they can be so annoying to look after, like with all the glitches I was talking about earlier. So if they're independent, then they don't need as much attention. Oh, you can see I was getting out the decals there to try and make it drab, but no, I decided not to do that. So yeah, if they're independent, they can just like be left alone and not be unhappy, which sounds mean in real life, but oh, they're just such an effort to look after in the game with the hunger and the energy never maxing out. I don't know if that happens for anyone else, but like it's so annoying. But yeah, I guess because you only get one trait for the toddlers, and I guess because they're so young as well, it's like hard to personalise the rooms. So I just put like around like all kinds of kid stuff, and then using these wall decals from Cats and Dogs. I think they're really cute. They actually look quite nice in kids and toddlers' bedrooms, I think. I was doing the hall. I can see I've noticed that the lights don't make any sense downstairs. Or have I? Maybe I hadn't. I definitely put in some wall lights though. This is the room of a teenage girl, and to make all the Sims, I just like randomise Sims and then pick traits at random. So I think this girl, teenage girl, I think she was a bodybuilder, like the bodybuilder aspiration, since that's the only athletic aspiration for some reason. And I think she was a genius and athletic, so I've tried to reflect that in her bedroom. Just doing her bathroom. I use those tiles so often, the ones from Parenthood. I'm pretty sure they're from Parenthood, but they're so nice. I just put them everywhere. I feel like I got rid of that mirror. I quite like the way that it's got the sticky notes on, but Maybe I did leave it there. Oh, that's cool. And yeah, this girl, she had like dyed hair and stuff, so I thought she might be a bit alternative. So I've used that bed with like that really cool looking pillow, like the dark but like vibrant colours. And then just putting the books on her bedside table, because she probably reads a lot if she's a genius. I guess I'd probably put that chess table outside for her as well. And then, yeah, I always like to put a bit of mess around, especially in teenagers' rooms. I think in the teenage boys' room, the two boys that share, I put like a lot of mess in their room, especially because it's so big. Like, it needed something to fill it. I've given her quite a lot of storage, I guess. And I've given her 2 mirrors as well, so maybe she's into fashion? I mean, she could be. Like, the outfit she's in is pretty cool. It's that one that, like, it looks like it might be a one-piece thing, or just, like, some really high-waisted trousers with that, like, no-sleeve top that came with City Living. I'm not really explaining it very well, but it's got some really cool colours. And, like, you might have seen her outside just now. She's wearing, like, bright yellow, which is also why I've put in a lot of yellow in this room. Like, maybe it's her favourite colour. So most of the bedrooms I did put a desk in so they could like do their homework and stuff, though I do prefer it when Sims like all do their homework together. I think that's really cute. But yeah, you can see I didn't put any computers in. It's putting around lots of books because she probably spends time working. And also, most of the time when I build, I use the cheat ignore gameplay entitlement unlocks. I think that's what it is. It's a really long cheat, but it gets rid of how do you say it? Like all the things you have to unlock through like careers and aspirations and stuff. It stops that, so you can just use them anyway. And so I think I put in like a picture of what could be like her sports team or something. I don't know. I feel like quite a lot of the items in there are good clutter, I suppose. This room is the room of a child boy. I feel like, yeah, he didn't have much going for him. I think the only trait... How many traits do kids have? Maybe I think they just have one, don't they? And so he was just mean. And I was like, well, what does a mean person's bedroom look like? It's so, like, generic. So I've just made it, I guess, quite generic. But he is rambunctious scamp, so that's, like, the active child trait. So I guess, I don't know, have I put in some sports items? I don't know, I might have done. I was having quite a lot of trouble with the curtains here. I'd scaled some of the big curtains down because they frame the windows quite nicely. But then they also weren't like hanging at the same length, so I think I've had to change them here to a different one than from those windows that are behind his bed. But I've tried to use like some fun colours. Again, trying to use a fun carpet, but really I don't like most of the patterned carpets in The Sims 4. They're just kind of ugly. Just all of them, which is a shame. I guess I was going to say in The Sims 3 we had a lot of patterned rugs, but then we had Create a Style, so I guess you could do whatever you wanted. Oh, that was fun. But yeah, I was just putting out a lunchbox you can take to school, some toys. For the toys, like whenever you use toys as decorations in The Sims 4, they just go and put them away in a toy box, which is so annoying. So to use like decorative toys, I just use the decoration items, because then they actually stay out rather than getting put away. It's so annoying when they do that. And yeah, I guess there's putting in a bookshelf. I don't think there's very much in this room. It's probably like the worst of the bedrooms, especially like the 2 shared rooms. I guess because they've got like 2 personalities in them, they're quite like they've got a lot going on in them. I think they're both quite nice. Whereas this is just like mean boy, generic, and just doing his bathroom, which I guess doesn't have a bath in. But yeah, you can see if you just move the toilet slightly over to the side, you can do these 2x2 bathrooms really easily, and they take up so much like space. I guess they're quite cramped, but like it doesn't really matter, especially if there's just one Sim using it. I tend to lock the bedrooms so that they don't use each other's stuff. Though I'm doing that less now because I do like them to be able to like go and socialise in whoever's bedroom. So then this is the 2 teenage boys' room. I thought that little half wall made quite a nice room divider, so that you have one side of the room that's like where they sleep, and then the other where they study. It's got like some desks and a bookshelf that I put in a minute. So these boys, one of them was a geek. I think he had like the writing aspiration, and he was squeamish. And then the other one was a party animal, dance machine, and a slob as well for some reason. I guess that's why their room's so messy, because one of them's a slob. So I've tried to put in items that they would both have. Was one of them musical? Because I'm putting in like that music poster scaled down and that keyboard. I think it might not have been in their like actual traits, but I wanted one of them to be musical, I guess. Maybe the party animal, that would make sense. Yeah, I like that mess piece that came with Parenthood. Though I do wish there were like more separate pieces of mess, like you could just put down like a t-shirt or like a rucksack with all the books spilling out, and then like build the mess yourself, if you see what I mean. Because like, I don't know, that's not all that versatile, and also it is quite a big item, though the scale of it isn't quite right, I think, because you can see I've put in that rucksack there with the skull. That rucksack is a different shape than the one in that like whole mess item, which is a bit weird. And I think the clothes are quite small as well, but I don't know, maybe they're for kids. And then yeah, this is the huge bathroom. I figured since it was so big, they may as well have a bath and a shower. And I think I've probably put in some shelves and things. Maybe not shelves, but you know, like well, I guess I'll see if I do it first. But yeah, putting in some towels as well, one each. I think the blue and the green are probably like the colours that I've predominantly used. Oh, and I made this before laundry came out, so there's no, even though I've put in a laundry hamper there, that's not one of the ones that makes laundry work, because yeah, this is made without laundry. And I guess if I was to go back and like fix this build, I would probably put in a laundry room. Actually, I guess I don't really have space now, but if I was making this now, I would have made a laundry room because it would have taken up some of the space upstairs maybe. Though I do quite like the layout in the end. And laundry, especially with 8 Sims, like they have to do laundry all the time. Oh well, and then this is the bathroom of the 2 kids that are sharing. So they're siblings, which is why they're together. And I like to make kids' bathrooms quite fun with like that boat wallpaper. And then I think I put different curtains over each of their beds. Like they're the same curtain but in different colour swatches. So these kids, one of them, I think the girl had the social aspiration, social butterfly, and she was a bookworm, and then the boy was artistic, I think, which is probably why I put in that the kids' drawing table downstairs. And then he was also a goofball. Though I guess like, I think it's only kids that can use the chemistry table, and neither of them are geniuses, and I did put in the chemistry table. So, I don't know, I guess like I want them to use as much stuff as they can. So yeah, putting down some mess in their room as well. I think I tried to put a few toys in here too, even though like I prefer them to play in the playroom, but then like considering how small the playroom is, it is nice for them to have another space as well. Oh, and that light, the what is it called, like the wall defender light or something that stops the monster under the bed coming. I find that so annoying. I feel like the monster under the bed was cute like the first time it happened. Like, I think I had 2 little girls sharing a room. There was a monster under the bed, and they ran and like woke up their teenage brother and were like, oh, come and spray the monster under the bed for us. And I was like, oh wow, that's so cute. And then it happened like every night, and it was so annoying, and it always happened. And I didn't even realise about that light for a while. And then like once I did, I was like, oh, so to stop this happening, you literally just have to put this one light in every child's room. It's really annoying. Like at least with toddlers, once their is it their thinking skill is high enough, they stop having nightmares. So like then why do the kids have the monster under the bed if like when they're toddlers they stop having nightmares? I guess it's more like imagination than thinking in that case, but yeah, I just find it annoying that they basically force you to put that item in. And then just putting in the journals. I do like the new character traits that have come in Parenthood, although that's like such old news now. But yeah, I do think they're fun. It's so easy to get responsibility up though. I think it's responsibility and manners. It's just so easy. Oh yeah, and then into the screenshots. So yeah, here it is on the outside. Here's the garden with the toddler slide and the climbing frame so they can play outside. The study with all the books and the little consultation area. The tiny playroom, which I hope they'll play in a lot, but yeah, it's so small. The little study area with the computers and the drawing table. The really blue kitchen that I like a lot. I really like that massive island counter. The really, really ugly dining room that I hate so much. The orphanage owner's room. I guess I didn't tell you her traits, but I don't know, if we're not doing a let's play, it doesn't really matter. The teenage boys' bedroom. The siblings' bedroom. And then the genius athletic girls' room. And I think it's, the generic mean boys' room. And then I guess it's just the toddler's room, yeah. So I'm not actually putting this house in the gallery just yet, as I might still use it for the Let's Play. So I'm just going to keep it to myself until I decide what to do. But if you did like this build, then please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. I've already recorded a tiny home speed build that I'll be putting out quite soon. And I've got some ideas for some other builds I'd like to try out as well. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!